In this video I will build a web application and I will build a mobile app for iOS, Android, Mac and Windows. And I will use .NET MAUI and Blazor, and I will share a lot of code between the app and the web. Welcome to a new video about the .NET MAUI. In this video we will talk about Blazor and MAUI. If you don't have watched my introduction video about the .NET MAUI and Blazor hybrid, you should go and watch that video. But in this video we will focus more on sharing code between web and app. So we will set up a Visual Studio solution, do some basic architecture to show you how to use Blazor and MAUI to build both Blazor server app and a .NET MAUI app for iOS, Android, Mac, Windows. But you can also use everything here for Blazor WebAssembly, even if I will use Blazor server in these examples. So let's get started. Okay, so here we are now in Visual Studio. I have opened the new project templates. So what we first will do is to create a .NET MAUI Blazor app. It doesn't matter on what to start with, but I will start with the MAUI app. And we give it the name like hybrid.native clients. Create it. And then we go here and we'll create a new project. A Blazor server app. Call it hybrid.web. And here we have that one. And here we can also go and create a new project for the share code. And that should be Razor class library. And we can call it hybrid.shared. And of course you can split this up in more pieces if you want to have only UI code in the shared project, and you can have one project also for the business logic. But in this demo I don't want to have too many projects, so we will put all the shared code in the same project. So then we can go to the web project and add that project as a dependency. And then we do the same in the native clients project. Like this. Okay. Now we have a shell to get started with building this application. So what we first need is some sort of data service, for example, that returns data to the application. So we can create that one in this project. Create a new folder, call it services. And then we add an interface, because I think it's important to have interfaces to make things more testable. An empty interface, data service. And in some services, you maybe want to have a specific service for the native clients and one for the web. And in that case, you will only have the interface in the shared project and not the implementation. But for this data service, we can have the implementation here because it's not unique for some of the projects. So create a class, data service, and implement the iData service interface. And of course we want this data service to do something, so we can have it returning just a list of strings. Get data. Implement interface. And then we can return some data. What can be fun? also have maybe guitar manufacturers like Gibson, Fender, Gretsch, Rickenbacker. We don't need to have more of them. And now we have a red here, and that's because this returns a task and we return a list. So we can instead do like this: return task dot from result. And if you have had real code here, you could of course have it like an async method, but we don't need that. So we can go here and we can create a new page. So we do that in a pages folder, call it page, and add a new file. Then we go here to ASP.NET Core and create a Razor component, because everything are component when we're talking about Blazor. As you can see here, we have a Razor page also, but you should not use that for Blazor. You should use a Razor component. So yeah, we can call it index. The first page of our application. Guitars. We can inject the iData service. Data service, just like this. But to make this injection work, we need to go and register the interface in the dependency injection container. And that is something we need to do on both the native clients and on the web application. So let's start with the native clients. So we go to the MAUI program and we add builder.services.add a singleton iData service, and that should be mapped to data services. Then we can copy this and we can go to the web application and the program.cs, and we add the same thing here. If we have had a different implementation on different platforms, we can configure that here, and I will show you that later in this video. So now we can clean this up a bit, because you will get some pages when you create it from the template and we don't need them anymore. So we delete them just like this. And we do the same here in the web application. We delete counter, we delete fetch data, we delete index. We should have this layouts.cs HTML left, and also the host file, and this error can also be saved. So, and here we have some shared components that we don't need, so we delete them too. And we do the same for the native clients project. If we want to have the layout file left, we can do that, but yeah, let's delete that one too. Delete. Okay, so now we can go to the main page.xaml, and here we can see that our root component is the main component. So let's go to main component and see what happens here. And here we can see that we load the main layout, but we just deleted that one. But that is because we want to have a shared layout between all those applications. So we go here to the hybrid.shared project, we create a new Razor component called main layout, like this. And the layout needs to have this layout component base as the base class, so we add that, and then we can add a new header, h1, like Daniel's demo app, and then we render the body, and we do that with the body variable from the base class. Okay, So that should be enough. But what we need to do is that we need to go and add those namespaces to this imports.razor, so they will be imported. So we do that. We can remove that one, but because that doesn't exist anymore, using hybrid.shared, and we add the pages namespace using hybrid.pages, like this. Okay. So now we can go here to the main razor, and we can see now it's not red here anymore. So let's see if we can run this and see if it works. So we can start to run it on Mac. And now we got an exception that the iData service interface cannot be found, and that is because we need to add that to the imports file also. But in this case, we will add it to the imports file in the shared project. So using hybrid.shared.services. And now we should be able to run this. As you can see here, it worked to load the main layout, but it did not work to load the index file. To make that work, we need to do some more steps. So the first thing we need to do is that we need to go to the main razor here, and we need to tell it that we have another assemblage that we will search for pages and compose. So what we do is we use this additional assemblage property, then we pass an array of assemblies. So we do type of shared.mainLayout and then .assembly. And now it will search that assembly for pages also. But we also need to go and say that this index component is a page. So we do that by doing this. And this will be the root page if we add just a slash. And now we can try to restart the app and see if it can find the page. Yes, here it is, but without no data because we have not added any data here yet. Okay, if we want this to work even on the web page, we need to add this there too, of course. So we go down here to the app.razor and we add it to the router, just like that. Okay, let's show the guitar manufacturers in the page. So here we override the onInitialized async method. Await that method, and here we can have a result variable, and we use the data service to get data. And then we put a property or a field if you want to. But for me as an app developer that is used to use MVVM, it feels better with a property. But it can be private. Private list, string, data. And we give it a default value. But first we need to define it as a property. And the reason that we give it a default value is to avoid null reference exceptions. So here we go and we assign the data property with the result variable, just like this. And then we need to do this protected. Okay, so let's show the data. So here we add a for each loop. For each var item in data. And then we just write out a string like this. Okay, can also add a line break. So then we can run the web application. So we set that as a start project and we run it. And now we got an exception, and the reason for that is that we only added those namespaces to the app. So we need to go to the imports.razor and we add them here as well. And now we can run it. And here we have the web application having exactly the same code that the app. Both have the same web UI, but the C# code on the app is running on the device with native access, and in the web application it runs on the server because this is a Blazor server app. If it's a Blazor WebAssembly app, it will run in the browser. Okay, let's add some unique platform features that are different from the app and the web. So the feature we will add to this application is that we want to show the geo position of the user. And when we do that on the mobile phone, for example, we want to use the GPS. And on the web application, we want to use the HTML5 geolocation APIs. So we will create an interface. We can call it iGeoService, like this. We add one method, get position, but we need a class also that we can return. We can call it just position, and that will have a latitude and a longitude, double latitude and longitude, just like this. And then we return a task of position, and we call the method getPosition. Okay, now we can go and create two different implementations of this. So we do that in the app project. We create a new folder called services, and we add a new class. We can call it app geoservice. App geoservice, just like that. Then we take the iGeoService interface, implement it, and then now we can use MAUI essentials here if we want to, so we don't need to write this code specific for each platform. There are some setup you need to do for each platform, for example adding some stuff to the info.plist file. I already prepared that, so we don't need to do that because that's not relevant for what I want to show in this video. So we can go here and we can say position is equal to wait geolocation dot default and get location async, like that. And now we can return new position, and latitude is position.latitude, longitude, position.longitude. Okay, so simple is it on the app application. So now we go to MAUI program and we say, so builder.services.add, can be a singleton, iGeoService, and resolve that to app geoservice. Okay, now we can go back to our index page here, and then we can inject this iGeoService. GeoService, and then we can create a new property, latitude, get set, and longitude. And then we do before the guitars, we can do like this. My position is latitude, longitude. So, and now we only need to set those variables. So here we have a null warning, so we can do it like that. So, okay. And okay. Var position is await dot geo service dot get position, and latitude is position dot latitude, longitude is position dot longitude. So here we have the application running on iOS, and now we get the permissions dialog, so we need to prove that the app can read the position. So we've done that, and here we have the coordinates. So that is how it will be on iOS. And now we can go and create an implementation for the web application. So we create a services folder here too. Services. And then we create a new class, web geo service. We implement the iGeo service interface again. And now to access this HTML5 APIs from Blazor, we can go and write some JavaScript, but I don't want to do that, and there are people that already have done that for us, so we can use an external library for that. So we'll go and add that NuGet package, and it's called downtown.blazor.device_interop. I'll add that package. So we create a new geolocation service. As you can see, it requires an IIS runtime. So we inject that into our service. IIS runtime, assign it to a field, and now we can just pass it to that library. And now we can do var result is service dot get current position, and that is an async method, so we will add await. And now we can do return new position. Latitude is result dot position dot chords dot latitude, and the same for longitude. Result dot position dot chords dot longitude. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so then we got this exception. JavaScript interrupt calls cannot be issued at this time. This is because the component is being statically rendered. When pre-rendering is enabled, JavaScript interrupts can only be performed during the on-after render async. Okay, and that is because here we added the on initial async override, and we have the get position here. So we need to move that to the on-after render async method. And that should work both on the app and on the web. So yeah, let's do that. So, and now we can try again. And here we have the Blazor app in the browser asking for permissions to get the position. So let's allow that. Okay, so what we have done now is that we have built an app, or we have built multiple apps We have built a website and we're sharing code between them, both business logic and UI. But we also have some code that are unique for the app and that are unique for the web. But we call that from share code. So that was everything for today. If you want to know more about .NET MAUI, Blazor and how to use them together, I recommend you to subscribe to my channel and please like this video. See you soon. Bye bye.